I've put a lot of thought into this and I've finally decided. When I grow up, I want to be a TV executive. I thought for the longest time I wanted to be remembered for some kind of artistic contribution to the world, but now I realise that was just a silly little fantasy. My real dream is to take someone else's idea, stamp out any artistic merit, get paid stupid amounts of money, and die without getting the blame I truly deserve for my crimes against art. So my first pilot season review, a sitcom written by and starring Kevin James, and after a quick Google search on who that was, my hopes that this review would be a positive one had a passenger plane flown into. I may rethink this analogy. Another bad sign was when I found out that the channel this would be airing on was CBS, and given that it's 11:30 in the morning and I have neither eaten a burger nor shot a small child, I have very little idea what CBS actually is. And since I drink tea and have large amounts of repressed racism that makes me a laughingstock on the world stage, my reference point was E4, and I still firmly believe that E4 understands comedy the same way Bill Cosby understands women. I may have found a new bottom to this particular barrel. So Kevin James is from the same class as Rob Schneider, who made Real Rob, which fans of these reviews won't need to be reminded of. But if you're new, Real Rob was about as enjoyable as teabagging a staple remover, so the bar for Kevin Can Wait to pass is pretty low. And I think, to say something positive, I think Kevin Can Wait is better than Real Rob. And if Kevin James is watching, you can turn this off now and go sit in your mansion assuming that you've won. The only reason Kevin Can Wank is better than Really Robbed is because it plays it safe with a cheap sitcom format, with cheap sets, live audience and a dysfunctional family. It's so by the numbers that if you close your eyes you'd probably get this confused about 50 other shows, that in some cases have actually done better than this. Whereas Peeled Gob went down a slightly less weather-beaten road, but for some reason decided to be about as hateful as possible. Now you can debate amongst yourselves whether Safe and Boring is worse than Somewhat Different and Hateable, but judging these shows on how miserable I felt afterwards for humanity, Kevin Can't Win wins easily. And I do get the impression that the network may have enforced some of these disappointing sitcom tropes, given its lineup of other comedy. Comedy there was said with about 17 quotation marks. So a quick character rundown. Kevin Can Wait is a retired policeman officer. His wife is the woman one. His 2 kids don't matter. His eldest daughter kind of matters to the plot, but has no character, and she is engaged to a man who was actually born in England, but was clearly given the memo on no quality being allowed anywhere near CBS, so he, for some reason, talks like he's only read about an English accent in a book full of spelling mistakes. Altogether they have antics, and Kevin James will probably fall over for a bit. You've all seen this before. It isn't actively hateful, it just isn't really anything. My biggest fear is that E4 will look at this and say, ooh, a new comedy starring a recognisable name, yes please. Oh dear, I can't seem to type anything while I'm wearing this straitjacket. I thought we'd all decided as a species that this kind of thing was played out. Surely there are more people in the world calling this cynical, unfunny and a cash grab than there are actually engaged viewers. So this show isn't the worst thing in the world, it's down there, but not right at the bottom. But if you're a fan of live audience, cheap sets, dysfunctional family, then, first of all, who let you out of your enclosure? Secondly, this isn't even a good example of that particular bilge. So I guess the only good thing here is I've finally found the shit source of all these shows E4 decides are good enough. They win, and us arseholes who think TV can be art all lose. Hooray, pilot season!